Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today we're going to be doing a movie review. So the movie we're reviewing today is Infinity Pool. So this is a movie that was directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who is, of course, the son of David Cronenberg. And this, I believe, premiered at Sundance. And a lot of people were talking about this unrated cut. So I ended up watching the unrated cut. They released it not as like a regular digital purchase that you can buy anywhere. You had to go to the Neon Cinema website and get the unrated cut there. And I'll talk about a little bit about the unrated cut at the end, just whether I thought that it was worth it and all of that. But that was what kind of piqued my interest. This being a Brandon Cronenberg film, and also that it included Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgard, who I've been a fan of Alexander Skarsgard since True Blood, so I watched most of the stuff that he's in, so I really wanted to check this movie out. Plus, the imagery surrounding this movie was really cool. This is basically about a failed writer, James, who he and his wife go on vacation to a fictional country. And while they're there, they meet a couple, and one of them is the character that Mia Goth is playing. And they are like, hey, we know of this like lake that you guys can go and hang out with if you want to come with us. And so they're like, sure, yeah, let's go. And they all go, they all hang out. And on the way back, this country is kind of, I would say that this country is a little more third worldy. Maybe some sort of like Eastern European country that's a little rougher around the edges. And basically the resort that they're staying in is fenced in. You're not allowed out after dark. And so while they're coming back from this lake, they are coming back after dark. They drove the other couple's car, and the guy is like, hey, James, do you want to drive us home? And so Alexander Skarsgård is like, sure, yeah, we'll go. And the car starts failing, the headlights start failing, and he ends up hitting someone. And so they're like, we can't tell anyone. This is a country where the criminal justice system is just really bad and we don't trust it. So we just can't tell anyone. So they go back, and the next day the cops knock on James and his wife's door and bring them in because they somehow knew that he was the one that killed this guy. While he's there, he is told that the punishment for the crime is execution by the oldest son of the guy who died. And James is starting to freak out, and they're like, well, as a part of our tourism industry and diplomatic agreements, if you pay us a sum of money, we will create a double to take your place in the execution. This double will look exactly like you and have all of your memories and will believe that they were the ones that committed the crime. And you can have that double take your place in the execution, so they're the ones that are being executed and not you. And that's where I'm going to leave the synopsis. So this movie, while I was watching it, I was like, this is reminding me of quite a few different movies. This is like the first 30 minutes of this movie is kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer. So we have this idea of going to a party and they're kind of drunk, they're driving back home at night, and then they hit somebody and try to cover it up. I was like, this is very I Know What You Did Last Summer. Then we have our other major movie that I think that this is similar to. Not so much in like this movie is exactly like this, but it's kind of similar to David Cronenberg's Crash. And if you've not seen Crash, Crash is where this group of people kind of get off, are aroused by the idea of car crashes. And this is not too different than that. We don't have car crashes, but we have the death of yourself. And that's something that is really arousing to the people in this movie. So now let's talk about our double group. So we have Mia Goth, and there's a whole group of people who have kind of taken James under their wing. They're basically rich enough that they can commit whatever kind of crime they want and pay the government to make a double of them, and then they have to watch that double be murdered. And they kind of get off on that idea. They like have a lot of fun. I don't think there's anything sexual going on with the watching themselves die, but I think that it's just like an interesting thrill that they have to be able to commit this crime and then watch themselves be punished for the crime, but not actually experience that punishment. This movie does have some interesting visuals in it. It was one of the things that really drew me to this film to begin with. Unfortunately, I think that all of the like really major visual things in this movie were in the promotional campaign. So this movie is a really kind of flat movie. There's not really a whole lot of color, and almost all of these visual things that you've seen in the promotional materials for this movie. So that was a bit disappointing, but I mean, they are really good visual images that are like, wow, I need to see this. You've got the one of Alexander Skarsgard with his face coming through, and there's just like this red sheet. That is a really striking image. And then you also have one of Alexander Skarsgård where he has the, I don't even know, like lip separators, I guess you would call them. And they like go in and you can like see all your teeth. That's another one that I've seen in the promotional materials for this movie that is visually striking. Definitely makes you want to know a little bit more. Something else I want to talk about are the country, this fictional country. They have these masks for, I guess, a ritual or something. They are very visually striking as well. And I thought that they were actually pretty cool. So I definitely wanted to just mention that because they are stunning. Now let's talk about Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. I think that Alexander Skarsgård is game for pretty much anything. He is a kind of, I don't know if I would technically consider him a highbrow actor, but I do commend him for being game for the weird stuff. And he does do a lot of weird stuff in this movie. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there is a lot that goes on with his character. Then we have Mia Goth, and I think she's great in this role. And it's really interesting because she's using her natural voice in this movie, which is really, if you think Jennifer Tilly has a baby voice, Mia Goth has an even more baby voice. And it is very funny at times to just listen to Mia Goth scream or like try to be like mean or something with this like very high-pitched feminine baby voice. It is very interesting. There are several shots in this movie that are so memeable of Mia Goth. I'll put a couple of them in this review, but I was watching this and I was like, I hope that people are screen capturing these so that they can use these as memes because I think these are hilarious. All right, so now let's talk about the unrated versus theatrical cuts of this movie. So I don't know anything about the theatrical cut because I did not watch it. I think there's only one difference in this uncut version of the movie that played at Sundance and you can get on the Neon Cinema website. And it is a scene early in the movie where Alexander Skarsgård is relieving himself next to a tree, and Mia Goth's character comes up and starts to perform and act on him. And you see the downstairs area. I don't think that that is something that's in the theatrical cut. After seeing it, I don't know if I would have decided to get this unrated or this uncut version of the movie, but I think it was the same price, so it doesn't necessarily matter. And you could clearly tell that it was fake. I know that Alexander Skarsgård will sometimes do his own nude scenes without any kind of aiding device, and this was clearly a fake member. So let's get to my rating of this movie. I rated this movie a 3.5 out of 5. I think that it is very interesting, and I do see a lot of influence from David Cronenberg, which I guess makes sense because it is his son. But there were some issues that I had, that it's choices that were made, particularly like why Mia Goth's character picked James to bring into this group, considering that James was a failed writer that apparently nobody even knew about. So I don't know why she chose him, and it wasn't really explained very clearly in the movie. So that is it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've watched Infinity Pool and what you thought of it. And remember, if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a like if you liked it. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Bye.